Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about American Gods, Season 1, Episode 4. It's called Get Gone. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. They did a proper good fake out at the start of this episode.
Yeah.
Because the last one was technically, I think, more or less present day, but the first two episodes started with these scenes in different time periods, Viking era,
Yeah.
and so it starts off in some hieroglyphics, and you're like, "Oh, Egypt! Oh, that's exciting."
Yeah. I thought it was a follow-up to obviously last week we started instead of a coming to America, we started with a somewhere in America and we
Yeah.
started with Anubis. So I thought, oh, this is a follow-up. Maybe this is his coming to America.
And then the camera pans out, and it's been in a casino. I thought it was a good little misdirect because with this show they've set up that we could just be starting in Egypt, so it actually was a nice little surprise that it wasn't.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I thought was pretty funny. So this episode also played with the format because
It did.
the flashback, as it were, actually was the majority of the episode. We were actually in the wide aspect ratio for at least 2/3 of it,
Yeah.
and we were basically following Laura from the moment she met Shadow, from the night she met him, all the way till she was in the motel room at the end of the last episode waiting on him.
Yes.
Chronicles that entire journey, which actually makes it easily the most focused episode because there was not a single cutaway to another plot. Everything was about her in that journey.
Yeah, it was extra focused.
Yeah. Which I appreciate. I actually I love when TV shows do this. I love when they take a character who we need to see their side of the story, and we get a whole episode. It's like the Mikey episode in Better Call Saul, for example, or something like that, where we shift focus for one to flesh someone out, and it tells a complete story for them. That said, I will say I don't necessarily dislike her as a character, but as a person, Laura, I'm not Laura's biggest fan at the moment.
No, I get that. I mean, she's not meant to be completely likable, though, I don't think.
Oh yeah, she's very selfish and needy, and I saw a lot of really bad ways. Um, I'm killing more time to Connor finish his rubbing his nose. This is what
No,
happens with
she
Connor
is,
sick.
yeah.
Yeah, no, because right away she's like sort of moody and she's kind of almost commits suicide with this bug spray called Get
Yeah.
Gone in her hot tub. And then she meets Shadow, and we see even when Shadow's a bit of a spark in her life, but oh, this is exciting. I'm shacking up with a thief. This is a bit of life, and then that gets boring. It's like, oh, it's just the same again. I just he's there when I get home, but
Yeah.
it was still the same monotonous thing. And she talks a lot to him about how she used to believe in stuff when she was a kid. Her parents talked about God and all these other things, and put all these beliefs in her and how it all felt magical. But then she grew up. Santa's not real. Tooth Fairy's not real, and eventually it felt like the world was kind of boring and uninteresting. And it kind of sets up her character, and that she does get this kind of boredom out of things, and then when there's a chance of something exciting, she tries to take it.
Yeah, and it begs the question: does she get bored now? Now that she knows there's more, does she still feel like that she can develop the same boredom, or is that it now? She's content.
I would think. Well, I don't think she'll be content, but I would think I would think she wouldn't go back into that pattern just because, even the way she talks about Shadow when she comes back, and she literally she has this new vision. She sees him for the light that he is, which I'm convinced is because he is actually not entirely human and he is representing something.
Well, I mean, the answer to that will be how does she see others? The other gods.
Oh, that's true. But the reason why I thought that as well is that not only does she keep seeing that and she's like tracking him in that sense, is that when she comes home, I thought it was intentionally making her vision, when it went to her POV, a lot less. It was the color had been drained from it. It was desaturated.
Yes.
And I thought that was really notable, that everything was kind of duller looking, but Shadow was yellow and glowing and
Yeah.
ray of
Yeah.
sunshine kind of thing.
It's. I reread the book, after this movie came out, and it's. She always reminds me of It Follows, the thing in It Follows.
All right, okay.
Yeah, this is she just sees Shadow, goes for Shadow. Like that's it. There's nothing else in her mind at the minute.
It's interesting because when she's alive in this episode, she kind of is very detached from him. Like at one point, someone even says, "You don't love him like he loves you," and you kind of see that. You see that he genuinely cares for her. He wants to have the married life and he wants all that stuff. And she's like, no, I need more. You're not
Yeah,
enough. Because they even have that conversation. She's like, oh, we could live in a cardboard box. I'd be happy if I was with you. She's like, no, that'd be a failure to me. We need more.
yeah,
And it's hard to not feel like, all right, you're a bit you're a bit selfish and needy, and it's I mean, I understand her better. At least it develops her character enough where I understand how she functions,
yeah.
and maybe it makes her newfound feelings after death, maybe a little bit more meaningful, maybe more of an arc and more of
Yeah,
a
it's why. Whereas when I said, "Oh,
self-realization.
maybe she feels more content," it's when she's driving along with a friend and she's like, "No, I do love him now." Maybe like now that she's realized, hang on, there is more. That this isn't all it is. She can almost relax and just feel like the love that she couldn't before because she was worried about she was focusing on these other things.
Yeah, which I think is. I still think that makes me dislike her as a character, though. That she needed that confirmation of this to
Yeah, yeah. It's
be
it's the
anything.
idea that
Yeah,
she couldn't believe, and that detracted from her as a person. But now she has the belief because she's seen it, admittedly.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Now,
that's kind of what I
now
mean. Is
she's
she's kind of cheated, and
yeah,
it shouldn't work like that. Um, so I don't know. So I want to point out, by the way, that she comes home from work and the cat's watching cartoons.
yes.
But the TV's on, the cat's watching cartoons to the point where she even turns it off when she comes in, as if the cartoons were on just for the cat.
I mean, it was there was a bird, right?
Yeah, the cartoon
So
bird. Yeah.
I'm sure the cats would enjoy that.
Oh dear. So yeah, we see how the affair developed with Robbie, who was Shadow's friend. Actually, I thought it was a lot of humor actually when she shows up at Audrey's house, and Audrey like sees her and screams and is asking her all these questions, and then we get the most ridiculous scene ever where she goes into her toilet whilst Audrey's standing in the bath and shits out the embalming fluid.
Yeah, because obviously we'd seen her throw it up immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was amusing.
Yeah, actually, this is the first time we've seen some of the gods come back that they introduced in the early parts of the episodes. Because obviously,
Yeah, we got Anubis back.
we got Anubis back, and we got the one who was writing the story at the start of the first episode,
Ibis.
Ibis. Yes, they come and patch her up, and I mean, you kind of get the feeling that her time's not infinite here. Like she's like on a bit of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
clock.
Because I mean, Anubis says to her, when you're done with this, I'm coming for your heart. Basically, it's like I'm giving you some leeway, but you're still mine.
Yeah, so it's I thought it was an interesting episode. I thought that the focus gave it a more of a streamlined approach and sort of seeing how these things developed and whatever. And it's made her a very grey character. I mean, she was already kind of mixed because he loves her, and then you find out no, she was having an affair. So that gives you this weird opinion of her anyway. But having actually see it going through, seeing her trying to stop it, but then the minute like it feels like it's a dangerous, exciting thing, she accepts it, and it's
Yeah,
it's difficult to sympathise for her at this point, which I guess works really well because it maybe puts us in the same shoes as Shadow. It makes us relate to him.
yeah,
And
yeah. He obviously loves her, but at the same time, it's like she just cheated on him, and he's got that in his head, and it's just like he's conflicted on how he feels. You have to imagine.
yeah, Audrey being honest about wanting to have sex on her grave was pretty amusing as well.
Yeah, I like that she agreed. It's like, yeah, that probably would have been fair.
Yeah, I mean that whole scene was pretty amusing. Every single line of dialogue that came out of their mouths was pretty good.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
But no, it sets up all these things. So it sets up that she tries to kill herself with the bug spray. She then asks Shadow to pick up some, later on, further down the timeline, implying that she's maybe thinking about it again. Which basically gives you the idea that she is impossible to make her happy. Like, there's nothing that's going to
Yeah,
fill this
I mean,
void.
I don't think she actually wants to kill herself. Though. I think she wants to go, close to death. Get that experience because the idea that she's not really feeling alive, so she wants something dangerous. It's the same reason why she wants to rob the casino. It's like, oh, this is dangerous. There's excitement. I think that's what this is here as well. It's the idea that if she feels like she could die, like, oh no, I'm alive.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, it's her idea to rob the casino, and Shadow's the one that ends up going to prison for it. That's why he was in prison at the start of the show. Oh dear. And he's like, oh no, you asked, and I said yes. You shouldn't go to prison. With Shadow. Come on now, let's be fair. She deserves
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But he was the one that got caught.
That's true. It's her bad intel though.
No, no, that is true. But I mean, she said someone screwed them. Maybe
Oh,
they did.
true. Maybe someone did, and maybe we'll find that out in time.
Yeah.
We'll get a person. Um, no, obviously the one thing I've glossed over here is when she wakes up and she first sees the glowing light. It's at the end of episode 1 when
Yes.
Shadow was being hung by all of Tech Boy. Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Technical boy.
Technical Boy. All of his goons have hung him, and until now I was thinking Shadow had unleashed a power
Yes, you were.
during that
Yes.
scene. It turns out she intervened and realized that either these guys are really weak or she has like super strength. I'm more inclined to think
Yes.
the latter. And there's this so we're in this slow motion in the rain, and she is ripping off limbs. The climax being of which, of course, is when she kicks one of them in the balls. Well, I don't know if they actually have balls, but where the balls would be, and the leg goes straight up and splits them in half, and there's just this blood
It's pretty glorious, isn't it?
flowing out in slow motion, mixing with the rain, and that's pretty great. Also, when she jumps up and grabs onto the noose and like just snaps the rope.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that confirms it's super strength. Yeah, because
Yeah.
most people can't just snap a rope by pulling on it.
I would think not.
So, no, that was pretty glorious.
And
So-
then haram.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean super strength. That just means that,
Yeah.
zombie-esque.
No, no, that's true.
And she tries to sew it on with a needle and thread.
It cracked me up.
Yeah, yeah. Still need to kind of get the muscles and the bones connected so you can
Use it.
use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, two gods showed up and fixed that for her.
Indeed. Isn't that convenient?
I will say I would have kept because the aspect ratio changes when we see her come out of the grave. I wouldn't have done it then. I get why they did it. I understand why they chose that
Yeah,
moment.
because that's the shift, isn't it?
Because that's when it becomes part of the timeline that we've been in as the show. But I would have left it because technically we're still in flashback now because we're further along in the story now with Shadow. So I would have kept it the entire episode. To me, because I was thinking as I was watching it that we'd maybe get a scene at the end and after they meet, whereas it ends with the exact same moment where he walks in and she says hi puppy.
I get that, but for me, this time the aspect ratio wasn't denoting flashback and non-flashback. I mean, yes, that stuff was in the current timeline of what we've seen in the show, but for me, it was more just this is when she was alive, and this is when this is after she's come back to life. That's the moment that it switches when she comes back to life. So I think it was more of a shift for that for me rather than the time.
I'm not thinking specifically of this episode. I'm thinking of how it's been used for all of the episodes.
Oh no, in all the other episodes I agree, but in this one I feel like they've chosen that point because that's where it's not because that's where we've seen in the show. It's just because that's where she comes back to life. That's the moment that everything changes for her. So that's the moment everything changes. Her perspective on life and death has changed. So the aspect ratio changes for us.
I get that. I would still do it my way. Because I think keeping that thematic tone, because it's been very consistent throughout the,
it has.
the
It
whole
has,
thing.
don't get me wrong.
It's denoted time. And also denoted other worlds and dreams. Every time Shadow dreams and we see the tree and the stuff, that's when it changes. So I would have kept the whole episode in that ratio. I mean, a lot of it was.
An argument for that then is all the stuff that was before, in the other aspect ratio, which is normally other worlds and things like that, is to her it wasn't really real. It was just something that happened, but it's not actually real. But now she's alive again. It's actually real now, so we're seeing it in the normal aspect ratio of the present day stuff.
It wasn't real. I'm just trying to deconstruct that statement.
Well, when I say it wasn't real, I just mean in the sense that she didn't really live life. She was just going through the motions. It was just, she was just going through it, whatever, and she didn't really have any connection to anything on any serious level.
I'd almost make that point by flipping the statement and saying it was too real and normal was the problem. And
okay.
Because that's even what she says, there was no magic. There was no...
Yeah.
Everything was the mundane normalcy. And then now she knows these things exist. She knows there's more to it. Her attitude as well when she's talking to Anubis is pretty funny as well, actually, now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Joe, I like the idea that Anubis showed up for her because she worked in this Egyptian-themed casino.
Well, because at this point, he doesn't have a lot of options, I imagine.
Probably not, no. Obviously, we saw last episode that he went to that one because that was, the story she'd been told as a kid. And we know Laura didn't believe in any specific thing. So the idea that she just spent, 8 years at this casino, day in, day out, seeing this is what her mind just went to, and this is why it called out to Anubis. I think that's quite interesting.
Yeah. Like we say, they're losing their power because people are forgetting them, so maybe can't be that picky now. Like, oh, she's been around these symbols for a while, so yeah, that's one of mine.
She'll do. Yeah.
So that's cool. I think that's a good episode. I think this is lately. I'm assuming Laura's a pretty main character, and it's a main character who we've barely seen for 3 episodes of the show. So I think it was probably a wise idea to just take a full episode and give it to her and develop her. Let us know how she thinks, how she ticks. Let's see her side, her story. And what I think is really smart about it is that, at least for me, I feel like I'm kind of like in a place with Shadow where I'm like, I understand her, but I see all of her faults and I kind of resent her.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because Shadow, for the first time in these last few episodes, has realized she wasn't a perfect person. She wasn't who he thought she was, and now we get to have the same way where we see who she is as well at the same time he does, more or less.
Yeah. So no, she's deeply flawed. I know it was a solid episode. So
definitely.
So we end where the last episode ended, just from her point of view when he walks in and he's glowing a light, and there we go. Ends with the exact same line of dialogue. So that's cool. So that's this week's American Gods. Let us know what you thought of it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and all that stuff helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter at mail_first for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, you can go over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv and see what some bonuses you've got over there. But otherwise, guys, that is us. So thank you very much for watching. Have you got any vanilla?